Today we're going to learn how to calculate time change. Now there is a time change blank on your itinerary which you're going to start filling in. You will see it right here. Now what that is asking you for is the time change between the place you're leaving and the place you are arriving to. So today we're going to figure that out. I'm sure you guys have heard of time change. Maybe you went on a vacation and maybe you flew to Florida and the time should have been like 5 hours different because that's how long your flight was, but when you arrived it was actually like 8 hours different, and that's because there are different time zones. Now we could talk out later about why that is and why people decided to have different time zones. But for now, we're just going to figure out how to calculate them. Now, as you might guess, if you kind of know how space works a little bit, there are 24 different time zones. Now, we kind of start in the middle here at 0. It's based on a place called Greenwich in the United Kingdom. And so you will see that this spot here is 0. You see 0 at the top, you see 0 at the bottom, and this particular map has kind of put it in different places just to help you out. And so as you go further away from 0, you go 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours, and you could go 1 hour east or 1 hour west. Now it's important to remember, if you move west you are going down in time, and if you move east you're going up in time. So with that, we could calculate any difference. So all of you are starting in San Francisco, and that means you're starting at the -8. Now don't let the numbers confuse you too much. If you just want to count left or right, you can do that. So for example, let's say that you are going to Mexico City for your first one. So the thing you need to remember is you don't count where you're leaving from. Remember, do not count where you're leaving from. So let's say the first place you're going to is Mexico City. Also, it's important to look at, they're not straight lines. If there were straight lines, then you would cut states in half, you would cut countries in half, and all that stuff. So the world is not divided that way. So you just need to make sure that you're looking at the colors. You could see that this color is -6. This color, green, is -8. So if you start in San Francisco and you go to Mexico City, Mexico, then you don't count where you're leaving from, and you count 1, 2. And there you go. Mexico City is 2 hours higher than San Francisco. -6 is 2 higher than -8. So you go to your itinerary, and in your time change you write +2. It's important to write plus or minus because that makes a big difference. So I wrote +2. Now I'm doing mine digitally. You could use yours digitally as well. You could do it like that, or many of you are handwriting, or many of you are even using like your iPad to write with your finger or an electronic pen. That is totally fine. So let's say that I had written in Mexico City. Apologize, I'm trying to move kind of fast here. So let's say that I did that, and there you go. San Francisco to Mexico City is a 2-hour time change. Let's say that then I am leaving from Mexico City. Now you should already have these written in from yesterday. And I'm going to Brasilia, Brazil. So then I'll go back to my map. I'll find where Brazil is. Now, Brazil is cut up into 2 different time zones. So you got to find out where Brasilia is. It is in the yellow. Mexico is in the red. -6 to -3. Now, for those of you who are good at math, you're already putting this together. And if you're confident and you want to skip a step, that's fine. The difference between -6 and -3 is 3. I always like to count. It just helps me. I'm not that confident in math. So you don't count where you leave from. 1, 2, 3. The difference between Mexico City and Brazil is a positive 3. I'm going to go to my time change. I'm going to put plus 3. Okay, now, just to show you, I'm not sure why you would necessarily do this in your itinerary, but let's pretend that your next place is going to be the Easter Island. Well, no, because that's Chile. Let's pick just the Cook Islands. It's technically part of New Zealand, but let's pick the Cook Islands. It's right there. So, you're starting from Brazil, which is -3. Cook Islands is -10. So, I'm going to start here, not going to count where I leave from. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to put in 7, but notice that I went left, so I'm going to put -7. I'm going to leave this blank for the purpose of our video. Also, I want you to notice it got a little confusing for me with the lines and the squigglies and all of that stuff. So I went to the bottom where the columns are pretty much straight, and I counted that way. So I'm not going to do all of mine, but I want you to do all of yours, and I hope this helps. Please let me know if you have any questions.